Welcome to Final Curtain. I'm Donald. Today, we gather to remember iconic figures whose journeys have reached their final chapter. Their talent, dedication, and influence shaped generations and touched millions worldwide. Join us as we honor their remarkable contributions across film, music, and culture, celebrating lives that will forever be remembered and continue inspiring future generations. 15 years ago, country music gently lost one of its most emotional and memorable voices, Ferlin Husky, who passed away at the age of 85. For many listeners, his songs were more than just music, they felt like quiet companions during everyday life. His voice carried a simple honesty that made people stop and truly listen, creating a deep personal connection through every performance. A voice that touched hearts. In the 1950s and 1960s, songs like Gone and Wings of a Dove became timeless favorites. Husky's singing had a warm, comforting quality that made emotions feel real and relatable. He didn't rely on complexity. Instead, he delivered sincerity that spoke directly to the heart of his audience, making his music easy to remember and hard to forget. Lasting legacy in country music. Ferlin Husky helped shape the direction of country music by blending traditional roots with a smoother, expressive style. His contribution was honored with an induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Even today, his songs continue to resonate, reminding listeners of the quiet power of honest storytelling through music. Ken Peplowski, who passed away at the age of 66, leaves behind a rich and expressive legacy in the world of jazz. Born in 1959, he was admired for his warm tone, lyrical style, and deeply personal approach to music. His clarinet and saxophone playing carried a natural storytelling quality that connected with audiences across generations and made his sound instantly recognizable. Career and contributions. Over the decades, Peplowski became a respected figure in American jazz, known for both his technical skill and emotional depth. He played an important role in Oregon's jazz scene, serving as music director of the Oregon Coast Jazz Party in Newport and the Oregon Festival of American Music in Eugene. Through these roles, he helped celebrate and expand appreciation for American jazz and related musical traditions with passion and dedication. Remembering Ken Peplowski. Beyond his performances, those who knew him remember his kindness, curiosity, and openness to all kinds of music, from jazz standards to artists like the Beatles and Bob Dylan. He was a generous collaborator and mentor who valued shared creativity. His influence continues through his recordings and the many musicians he inspired throughout his life. Julian McMahon, born July 27, 1968, built a distinctive career in television and film. As the son of former Australian Prime Minister Sir William McMahon, he carried a notable family legacy, but chose to pursue acting. He first gained attention in Australia through Home and Away, where early roles revealed his versatility. Hollywood rise and iconic roles. His move to Hollywood expanded his reach to a global audience, where he quickly became a recognizable face on television. One of his defining roles came in Charmed as Cole Turner, a character layered with emotion and inner conflict. He later earned critical praise for Nip Tuck, which brought him a Golden Globe nomination. On film, he portrayed Dr. Doom in Fantastic Four, and later returned to TV in FBI, Most Wanted, continuing to play strong, commanding characters. Legacy and lasting impact. Known for his charisma, intensity, and strong screen presence, McMahon left a lasting impression across both television and film. He passed away later in life at the age of 56, leaving behind a body of work that continues to resonate. His performances remain appreciated for their depth and enduring appeal. James Gadson, aged 86, has died, leaving behind a remarkable musical legacy defined by his signature soulful drumming. He was widely respected as one of the most influential session drummers in R&B and soul music. His steady, expressive groove became a foundation for countless recordings, earning him admiration from artists and producers across generations. Music legacy. He played on several timeless tracks, including Thelma Houston's Don't Leave Me This Way, Bill Withers' Lean on Me, and Diana Ross's Love Hangover. His subtle yet powerful drumming helped shape the sound of the golden era of soul and disco. Even decades later, his influence continued as he worked with modern artists such as Beck, Harry Styles, and Kelly Clarkson, connecting classic rhythm with contemporary music. His grooves were known for being both simple and deeply expressive. Remembered for his artistry, a U.S. Air Force veteran, Gadson is remembered for his discipline, humility, and deep love for music. Beyond his technical skill, he brought emotion and humanity to every performance. His work continues to inspire musicians and listeners, and his contribution to music history remains timeless. Barry Gibb's name is forever tied to some of the most recognizable songs in modern music history. From Staying Alive to How Deep Is Your Love and Night Fever, his work helped define not just a band, but an entire era of sound and emotion. With over 220 million records sold and a songwriting catalog that spans decades, the Bee Gees became a cultural force that shaped the identity of the 1970s and beyond. Yet behind the glitter of global fame lies a quieter, heavier truth. Today, Barry Gibb stands as the last surviving member of the Bee Gees, continuing to carry a legacy that once belonged to four brothers. His performances are no longer just concerts, they are living memorials. Every stage he steps onto carries echoes of voices that once harmonized beside him. What the world sees as nostalgia is, for Barry, something far more personal, a lifelong conversation with memory, absence, and brotherhood that time has not softened. The music lives on, but so does the silence of those who are no longer there. Humble beginnings and a family built on survival. The story of the Bee Gees begins far from fame, in a world shaped by struggle rather than spotlight. Barry Gibb was born in 1946 on the Isle of Man, a place where life was simple but opportunities were limited. His family soon expanded with twins Robin and Maurice, followed years later by their youngest brother Andy. Their father worked as a musician, while their mother held the household together through difficult financial times. As pressure mounted, the family made a life-changing decision to leave for Australia in search of stability. What they found instead was a continuation of hardship, living in modest conditions and relying on resilience to get by. Music, however, became their escape. In a small bedroom filled with uncertainty, the brothers discovered the power of harmony. They sang not for fame, but for connection, comfort, and expression. Barry quickly emerged as a natural leader, writing songs and shaping their early direction. Even as children, their bond through music became something unbreakable. It was not yet a career. It was survival, turned into art. From local stages to international attention. As the boys grew, their music began to attract attention beyond their immediate surroundings. Early performances in local venues gave them experience, even if the audiences were small and unpredictable. They performed wherever they could, gradually refining their sound and identity. Their first major breakthrough came when one of their early songs gained unexpected popularity in Australia, opening doors that had previously been closed. This moment marked a shift from obscurity to recognition, and soon they were no longer just three brothers singing together. They were becoming a real musical group with direction and purpose. Barry, still very young, took on increasing responsibility as a writer and arranger, guiding the group creatively. The challenges of constant performance, travel, and limited resources strengthened their bond, but also tested it. Still, their harmonies stood out, blending emotion and precision in a way that felt larger than their circumstances. It was clear even then that their connection as siblings was not just personal. It was the foundation of their sound. The world had not yet fully discovered them, but the path toward global recognition had already begun. Breaking through in the UK and finding their voice. When the Bee Gees moved to England in the late 1960s, everything changed. They arrived with ambition and a growing catalog of songs that reflected emotional depth beyond their years. Under professional management, they quickly gained attention for their distinctive harmonies and storytelling style. Songs like New York Mining Disaster 1941 introduced them to international audiences, creating intrigue and critical praise. Soon after, Massachusetts solidified their place in pop music history, becoming a chart-topping success across Europe. Their music often carried themes of longing, identity, and emotional reflection, which resonated deeply with listeners. However, success also brought internal tension. Differences in creative vision and personality occasionally created distance between the brothers, leading at one point to a temporary split. Despite this, their shared history and musical chemistry eventually brought them back together. This period shaped them not only as artists, but as individuals navigating fame at a young age. They were learning, adapting, and evolving in real time, building a foundation that would soon support one of the most transformative phases of their career: reinvention and the rise of a global sound. By the mid-1970s, the Bee Gees faced uncertainty as musical trends shifted away from their earlier style. Rather than fading, they reinvented themselves. Experimenting with rhythm-driven production and a higher vocal register, they discovered a new creative identity. This transformation was not immediate or easy, but it proved revolutionary. Songs like Jive Talkin' marked a turning point, reintroducing them to audiences with renewed energy and relevance. Their sound became more dynamic, more rhythmic, and more aligned with emerging global trends. This reinvention demonstrated their adaptability and willingness to evolve, rather than remain fixed in the past. It also reinforced Barry's role as a central creative force within the group. What had once been a traditional vocal trio now became something more modern and expansive. This phase of their career showed that longevity in music often depends not just on talent, but on the ability to transform. The Bee Gees were no longer just surviving the industry. They were actively reshaping it. Saturday Night Fever and the height of global fame. The release of Saturday Night Fever marked the peak of the Bee Gees' influence. Tasked with creating music for a film centered around nightlife and dance culture, they produced some of their most iconic work in a remarkably short period. Songs like Stayin' Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, and Night Fever became instant global phenomena. The soundtrack did more than succeed. It defined an era. Disco music surged into mainstream culture, and the Bee Gees became its most recognizable voices. Their harmonies dominated radio, charts, and dance floors worldwide. For a moment, they stood at the very center of global entertainment, shaping not just music, but fashion, culture, and identity. Yet beneath the success, the pressure of fame was intensifying. Expectations grew, criticism followed trends, and the spotlight became increasingly unforgiving. Still, this period remains one of the most influential in modern music history, with the Bee Gees achieving a level of success few artists ever experience. Backlash, personal struggles, and loss within the family. As quickly as fame rose, public perception shifted. The backlash against disco culture affected the Bee Gees deeply, turning celebration into criticism. What had once been admired became mocked in certain circles, and the group faced rejection from parts of the industry they had helped shape. At the same time, the pressures of fame began to weigh heavily on the family itself. Internal tensions, emotional strain, and personal challenges created distance between the brothers during difficult years. Their youngest brother, Andy, who had begun his own successful music career, faced significant personal struggles that ultimately led to his untimely passing at a young age. This loss deeply affected Barry and reshaped his understanding of fame and vulnerability. It was a moment that marked the beginning of a series of heartbreaking changes within the family. Music, which had once been a source of unity and joy, now carried echoes of grief and reflection. The Bee Gees were no longer just a band. They were a family, learning to navigate absence. Morris and Robin, the final chapters of brotherhood. The early 2000s brought another devastating loss when Maurice passed away unexpectedly due to sudden health complications. His role as the emotional connector of the group had always been vital, and his absence marked the end of the Bee Gees as an active trio. Barry and Robin attempted to continue, but the dynamic had fundamentally changed. Robin later faced his own health challenges, and despite periods of hope and recovery, he eventually passed away in 2012. With that moment, Barry became the last surviving member of the original group. The emotional weight of losing both brothers over time was immense, not only ending a musical era but closing a deeply personal chapter of his life. What remained was memory, performances, recordings, and shared history preserved in music. For Barry, each song became a reminder of voices that once filled stages beside him. The Bee Gees were no longer a living group, but their legacy had already become permanent in global culture. Legacy, reflection, and the voice that remains today, Barry Gibb continues to live with both the honor and burden of legacy. Now in his later years, he performs selectively, often reflecting on the past through music rather than chasing new fame. His concerts are deeply emotional experiences, blending live performance with archival voices of his brothers. creating moments that feel both celebratory and reflective. Beyond music, he has dedicated time to family, charity, and preserving the history of the Bee Gees for future generations. He has often spoken about fame with honesty, acknowledging both its beauty and its cost. Yet despite everything, he continues to sing, not out of obligation, but connection. Music remains the bridge between past and present, between him and the brothers he lost. In many ways, Barry Gibb is not simply the last Bee Gees member, he is the keeper of their shared voice. And as long as he continues to sing, that harmony, once four voices strong, still echoes in the world.